presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, has been in the United States, attending meetings. But as he was there, the vice presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Senator Kashim Shettima, has described the presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, as a political tourist who will be permanently retired to the United Arab Emirates after the 2023 election. Mr. Shettima spoke at the presentation of the manifesto of the APC to the business community and organized private sector in Lagos yesterday. Take a listen to the Vice VP candidate of the APC.
Leadership goes beyond spewing dubious statistics or basking in a mediocre performance as the governor of Anambra State. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I respect Atiku Abubakar, but leadership goes beyond unstatesman-like rantings, someone who cannot unite his own party. I wonder how he's going to unite this nation.
You heard him. Senator Kashim Shettima, VP candidate of the APC. Well, the PDP has been reacting. There is an official statement coming out from the PDP. They're not taking these line low. They feel that that statement is not coming from Senator Kashim Shettima is unacceptable, and they believe that the pedigree and the profile of the presidential candidate of the PDP is not exactly how it was described. Say, Alhaji Shettima, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar cannot be trusted with the coming economy of Nigeria. No RSE could be worse than this. Let's get more reaction on this. I'm being joined by the presidential spokesperson of the PDP, Mr. Daniel Bwala. Thank you so much indeed for coming tonight.
Thank you for having me.
What an interesting time.
Yeah.
You're from Borno State, right?
Yes, I am.
And Senator Shettima is from Borno State also. Well, before we get into that, why is your candidate in the United States?
Well, thank you. Atiku Abubakar was invited by the Department of State, and he went to the U.S. primarily to have a conversation with the U.S. government around good governance, things that we share, we have shared interests, such as good governance, free and fair election, democratic governance, non-interference by state actors or non-state actors in the electoral process. And we were able to extract the commitment from the U.S. government that they will ensure they play their part in ensuring that there is a free and fair process. They even promised in the build-up to the election they will announce stiffer sanction on individual or institutions that attempt to interfere with the election.
Which institution in the United States said this? Is it
the Department of State? The Department of Foreign Affairs Ministry.
Absolutely.
He also engaged with United States Institute of Peace, of course, which is an institute that deals with aspects of conflict resolution and all that. Had also interaction with Chamber of Commerce. You can see that our engagement is from a more matured point of view. We're looking, because we know the problems that we're confronted with in Nigeria today. But it is saddening that in the midst of this cacophony, you find people who could not honor invitation given to them by the Chamber of Commerce, to which both Atiku and in fact Peter Obi, that they were ridiculing, attended. They instead organized their own private sector meeting where they went and have what we call the Night of 1,000 Laughs. It was so comic, but it is not surprising for us because, one, it appears they have the understanding that their presidential candidate is boring and that he won't be able to communicate in clear terms, so they decided to get a vice presidential candidate that will share in this comedy and comic relief, which is what he did. But in case if he forgets, maybe a little refresher will help him. Atiku Abubakar served as the vice president from 1999 to 2007. And when they came in, Atiku Abubakar was the one practically like the sitting president, because President Obasanjo was all over the map to seek for debt cancellation and to see how we can pilot the nation. There was not a single day Atiku Abubakar or Obasanjo blamed the economy to the military, and yet everybody knew how the military bastardized the economy. Atiku sat on the economic policy that brought about revolution in the telecom industry, that created jobs. In case he forgets, Atiku Abubakar sat as the vice president over a government and economy that saw to the debt cancellation in our foreign reserve, of our debt. And then we have increase in our foreign reserve. Atiku presided as a vice presidential candidate and on many occasions as a sitting president, because we did an analysis and came to a finding that President Obasanjo traveled for a period of about 6 months over a period of the first term. It was Atiku that sat. And yet, Atiku managed insecurity in such a way that we had, you remember, we have Bakassi, we have Odudua, in the Niger Delta, we have this boil bunkering and vandalization, and in the north, we had Sharia, which created a scenario in Nigeria. There was never a complaint or blame fixing. He sat over that. In case he doesn't know, Atiku was the vice president that provided succor and relief to the state where himself and I share in Borno that brought about the peace and stability at the time. But if he wants to know his identity, and which is because his perspective, is that he was a governor in Borno State around the time when Governor Wike, sitting as a presiding minister for education, wrote a letter about the fears based on security report that pupils or students who were preparing to sit for exams should be relocated to the capital because of insecurity. And there was a security report at the time. He ignored security report. He rebuffed the instruction of Wike, and that was how the Chibok girls were stolen, were kidnapped. He was the governor around the time when the man who instituted or masterminded the Madala bombing was found in Borno Government Lodge, around the time he was a governor. And it is still around his time where he said he was bringing in 30 billion to create what he called Borno Investment Hub. That place where he called the investment hub, that's where goats now, they sit to rest after they go about the places. The 30 billion cannot be accounted for. Most of this infrastructure you see in Borno, like schools, all these, face-looking things that they say he created. I bet you, Shewun, we are a good journalist to look at it. Since when the insecurity started in Borno till today, if you see how many billions of dollars that our foreign partners can be, all these multinational NGOs that pump into that state. So whether in the area of education, in the area of relief material, in all these other areas, they provided funding to support. What he calls a stellar performance. He said, Jimovia is here. Jimovia should be able to know I perform better as a governor and I rose. Let me tell you, he presided as a governor that domiciled the money of Borno in a bank for the purposes of profit by the bank, as a result of which he was promoted, and he got to where you are. That is the economy. They gathered in that meeting and they were sharing to the Nigerian.
I mean, these of course are some. I mean, you're a politician. I understand the reason why you're speaking like this. But of course, as a lawyer, you also know the fact that these things have to be backed. The libelous ones and the one that can.
That's not the libelous.
The defamation, because when you say that he's found with so person and he's found with
so he was a governor.
The inference is
he was a governor. Yeah. He was a governor of the state when a mastermind of a bombing was found in Borno Government Lodge. I did not say he did it. He was a governor.
So let me ask you, in the case of Peter Obi, and I'm coming back to Kashim Shettima,
right?
Why was it that your supporters were criticizing Peter Obi when he was abroad, consulting with Nigerians abroad and having consultations abroad? Now your candidate is abroad.
Right.
How would you react to that?
We have had no material time actually criticize Peter Obi for going abroad and engaging.
You've forgotten how your supporters were criticizing Peter Obi when they say, oh, he's going to abroad to instead of him coming on the ground to come and do the work.
I was part of those that in fact said that all the places Peter Obi was visiting were Nigerian communities in different parts of the Western world who are not likely to come back to Nigeria and vote. And he ignored the primary responsibility he had because we felt he came through a party that has a short time to make impact, and so he had a misplaced priority. In the case of Atiku Abubakar engaged with development partners. There is virtually nothing we need in terms of growth and development as a country to which we don't look up to the US. He didn't go to just see a group of people who are having some picnic, attend a group of meeting where there are people who are having dinner. He engaged with the Department of State. Department of State is like Foreign Affairs Ministry. It is cogent and compelling. In other words, his visit to the US should even benefit the government of Nigeria of today.
So let's go back to what Kashim Shettima said.
Yeah.
And he made a point. He said, your presidential candidate had been making divisive statements.
Right. Let me respond to it. His own principal said, Emile Kun, when he gave the famous and what has come to become the national anthem of the party, when he said, Olule, Oshekini, Olile, Oshekeji, Olule, Osheketa, Olule, Olule, television.
Your Yoruba is very horrible.
It was in that meeting he said it was his own turn to be president. It's not about the people, it's not about everyone. But escalated to the most recent visit he made to Pa Adefaranti. He was telling him that not a single Yoruba is opposing the idea of me securing the ticket. He's not talking about Nigeria or APC. Then he added, he said, I promise you when I go to the election, I will bring back the trophy. In other words, his idea of the race to presidency is like you go and get a trophy to your ethnic enclave. There is not a single divisive statement that matches that. But we are not surprised that these things did not find their ways into print and electronic media. Because just last week, he had a meeting with editors in Oriental Hotel in Lagos, where he was literally persuading and buying them over to his view. We have also heard when he said he will curse anybody that tried to settle Wiki and Atiku. We are not perturbed by that. But let me tell you what they are selling to the Nigerian people, what they call renewed hopelessness. In their renewed hopelessness, what is their economic model?
You call it renewed hopelessness, but they call it renewed hope.
But let me tell you why it is hopeless. This current government is the government of APC. They don't even know. Their entire manifesto is a campaign against the government. And a kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. Read their campaign manifesto. It is activism. You are doing activism against who? You now said you want to remove subsidy. You forgot when Jonathan wanted to remove subsidy, all of them went to the street and called the heavens to come down on him. Remember also, as soon as the election was coming close, when they talked about subsidy, they said, who is subsidizing who? We're going to remove subsidy from day one. 8 years down the line, they have not. Even when the PIA was passed into law, which created sort of the platform for the removal of subsidy, they all came out against it. Today, even unionists in their party are saying that they want to remove subsidy. Nigerians can't be fooled in that area. They also talked about, we want to give student loan, we want to give this, and we have to give that. Read that renewed hopelessness. Where are they going to get the funding? There is no economic blueprint for job creation. And it is even surprising to me that they gathered these same people you see in the meeting they call private sector players. When you look through, you will see wounded businessmen. Businessmen who have lost billions and billions as a result of incoherent policies of APC. And they are promising the same people that they are going to create an enabling environment for private sector.
You're from Borno State.
I am.
Are you proud to be from that state?
I am proud to
Are
be
you
a Borno
proud
man.
that Kashim Shettima was your governor for 8 years?
No, I'm not. In fact, let me tell you something.
But it seems your statement is a bit different from when you were a member of the APC.
I have never spoken about Borno because I come from the part of Borno that is treated as if we are not even the Nigerians. I have never talked about Borno, but let me even tell you the unpopularity of APC in Borno State. Their governor went to my part of the state. You know the song they were singing, 2 billion. Anytime you find the governor or anybody, ask him what is the meaning of 2 billion, they will tell you. The senators in their party went to different parts. They were literally chased out. To tell you how unpopular APC is, the Northwest gave overwhelming votes to APC. What have the Northwest benefited when you saw a state?
So what's the meaning of 2 billion from what your people are saying?
The people, according to the report we heard, that the President Buhari went to Borno and he was having engagement in the Shewu's Palace, where the Shewu's Palace was demanding more funding. That's what I heard. You know, I've not verified. More funding.
And it's in the tune of 2 billion.
And the governor, so when they were asking Buhari for more funding, that Buhari in response said, every month I give 2 billion in addition to whatever is accrued to the state. And the people's eyes were open. But that is even a child's play compared to a 30 billion.
We need to confirm that particular.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying for verify. But that's why I say ask them why they are singing that song. So look at infrastructure, for God's sake. Do you know the World Bank finding, based on the recommendation of African Union, a projected budget for development around Africa? They say 1 kilometer, the threshold for 1 kilometer of road. They said Nigeria, this APC government, inflated it by 100%. So if $1 million was used, for example, 1 kilometer, this APC were charging $10 million for that.
We need to leave it at that. But you need to come and let's talk about your man.
And he appeared in that meeting in a suit like a vulture, and he's accusing Atiku, who taught him politics.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel Bwala,
Thank you.
for coming tonight, presidential spokesperson of the PDP. Indeed, an interesting time for our nation as we try to break down those or interrogate those who want to be president. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow. I'm Sean Okimaloe. God bless Nigeria.